This is the Wisdom Table, and I'm opening the show with Dr. Jennifer Daniels. She's in Panama. The program that you're about to hear, the Wisdom Table, does not reflect the views, attitudes, whims, or any other proclivities of the personnel that runs the community center nor that of the administration of this housing development. However, the program does reflect the research done by the participants in the program who are live in living color in studio and by phone interview. And we have our guest today, a very, very treasured guest on the various shows that she's appeared on, Dr. Jennifer Daniels. You can also access her on Sundays at 11 a.m. Go to the internet, look for Healing with Dr. Jennifer Daniels. Dr. Jennifer Daniels, thank you for joining us on the Wisdom Table.
You're welcome.
And we'd like to start with your signature presentation, that is explaining to us the turpentine as it relates to the healing process of the body, how you came upon that particular tool for helping people heal themselves.
Well, I was practicing medicine in the 90s in Syracuse, New York, and I had already figured out or noticed that the stuff they taught me in medical school was totally ineffective and actually harmful. So I had already succeeded in helping people heal with diet and exercise and other and more bowel movements and other nutritional changes, but I was disappointed that many people would relapse or get sick all over again as soon as they ate one little bit of food they weren't supposed to eat. So I said, there must be something that would restore someone to the healthy condition they enjoyed before they got sick, or they wouldn't be so fragile. And I started reading all kinds of natural healing books, looking for whatever that thing was. And finally, I came along a passage, and it said that, the American slaves had some kind of healing that was very powerful, more powerful than what the American Indians had, more powerful than the European doctors, more powerful than folk healing. And I said, wow, that's interesting. It sounds like what I'm looking for. And I said, well, gee, if the American slaves have it, it's got to be cheap, non-perishable, and pretty much everywhere, because, slaves, they don't have any place to store anything. So I kept reading and reading and looking and looking. I couldn't find anything. I said, wait a minute. I have a medical practice full of slave descendants. Let me ask them. So I started asking every African-American patient at the end of their office visit if there's anything their parents used or grandparents used that cured everything and was very cheap. And finally, it took a few months, but finally someone said, oh my God, turpentine and sugar. Oh, turpentine and sugar. And so I said, well, why don't you use turpentine and sugar? I said, that's why I got an education, and that's why I got health insurance, so I can come see you. I don't need to take no turpentine and sugar. I said, oh, okay. So, but I asked him, hey, how much, how often, what you use it for? He couldn't tell me any of that. I said, all I know is it cured everything. And anyone sick, grandma come running with turpentine and sugar. And nobody wanted to see grandma with that turpentine and sugar. So no one ever faked an illness.
Nasty.
I said, well, was your grandmother talk to me about it? He says, I said, well, your grandmother, I guess she's dead now. This guy is 40 years old. He says, no, she's still alive. She's 92 years old. I said, oh, I guess she's probably in a nursing home. Oh, no. She's living in her own house, cleaning her house, cooking food. I said, well, oh, my goodness. Well, will she talk to me? He said, well, she kind of sticks to herself pretty much. I said, oh. So that was pretty much dead then. But I said, well, let me try it. So I went down to the hardware store, got a can of turpentine, went down to the local grocery store, got some sugar cubes, and wrote out my will, made sure my will was on top of the refrigerator where everyone could find it in case, I didn't make it. Then I told my receptionist, now look, I'm gonna, I'm not saying anything, but if I don't show up for work tomorrow morning, you just go ahead and cancel with the patients. She said, oh, okay. So I went home that night and I tried some turpentine sugar. I started off with like 3 drops on a sugar cube, chewed it, swallowed it. I thought sure I would just drop dead, but nothing happened. I said, oh my goodness. Went on to work, and then the next evening I said, well, I'm gonna try a little more. And I kept building up to more sugar and more turpentine and more sugar and more turpentine. Finally got to a teaspoon of turpentine, and bang, my mind cleared up. My body felt strong. It felt like I was not even a teenager, preteen again. Just all this energy. Wow, this is great. And so then I started, well, first I asked my mother to try it, I asked some friends to try it, some other relatives, and everyone got wonderful results. So then I started using it in my medical practice on people who had conditions that modern medicine said were incurable, and boom, they were cured. Oh my goodness. And so that's the turpentine sugar story. You can get that whole story plus how to use it from my website at vitalitycapsules.com. It's free. Just put your email address in, you get the free report.
That's vitalitycapsules.com.
Correct.
And let's go to some of those incurable diseases that you may have encountered, but we're going to do it from our menu that we supply. And that is, let's go down the list: breast cancer, colon, and prostate. That which people don't know but should know about those conditions, how they might be able to arrest the progress of those conditions, and cures that the public does not know about, cures as it relates to specific individuals, protocols, or you may have seen yourself.
So I'm not going to tell you what everyone else is going to tell you, right? So take a little different approach. First of all, most people find out about their breast, colon, and prostate cancer through some form of screening. And so what has now been revealed through, in the medical community is that these cancers discovered through screening are not really cancers. And there's really nothing wrong with these people. So screening programs are the art of labeling healthy people as sick and expanding the market for surgery, chemotherapy, and radiation. So that's the big takeaway message. And so literally pretty close to 80% of all cancer that's diagnosed is not something that would shorten a person's life if left untreated.
Naturally, we're in a court. We need you to go back over that.
Yeah. Over that. What's wrong?
Oh, we can't hear you.
Oh, you can't hear me?
Right,
No.
right. Now we can hear you.
Okay. So the breast, colon, and prostate cancers discovered by screening are generally cancers conditions that would not have shortened anyone's life if left untreated.
Okay, if it left untreated.
Would not shorten
If
anyone's.
left untreated, the person would not live a day less.
Okay.
With treatment, the person would not live a day longer.
Yeah. Either way you go, you're gonna key over.
I
Yeah.
don't know what that means.
Keel
But
over,
what I'm
keel
trying
over.
to say is, well, that's one way of looking at it. Another way of looking at it is if you have breast cancer discovered on a screening test, then your life expectancy is the same as a healthy person who did not get screened.
Okay.
All right.
In other words, they are discovering lesions that are of no health consequence at all.
Mm-hmm.
The person would still live a long and healthy life without treatment or that lesion being discovered.
Okay.
Now, Dr. Daniels, you're going based on studies that have been done.
By the medical industrial complex itself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the key.
Studies ain't been done by no naturalist, bizarre, anti-establishment, anything. These have been done by the medical industrial complex itself. So when people tell me, well, we need more studies, I said, well, to study what? The information's already out there.
Okay, so a person goes through the screening and they're diagnosed with quote prostate or colon or breast cancer.
Hmm.
The protocol of the medical industry then is to do what?
Well, of course, a biopsy. And the biopsy, of course, images the person, and then their immune system now has to heal the wound from the biopsy. And so that's harm right there. But let's take it a step further. So the breast cancer screenings, they have determined that if they get a younger radiologist to read the mammograms, he's going to diagnose cancer or suspicious lesion biopsy needed at least 10 times as often as a more experienced radiologist. So who do you think reads those x-rays from your mammogram screenings?
The newcomer.
Correct. So now you've magnified tenfold the frequency of biopsies. And so, of course, 90% of those folks being sent for biopsy, there's just a hospital fundraiser. That's why these cancer screenings, especially breast cancer screenings, are so popular. Because it's a fundraiser for the hospitals. Now the hospital has got 10 times as many biopsies, and the average cost of a biopsy is $17,000.
Right.
Now, part's paid by your insurance if you have it, and rest by your mortgage if you don't.
Okay.
Now, it doesn't stop there, though. Oh, no. Then you get the biopsy results. Who do you think is to read and look under the microscope to determine if that pathology is cancer or not?
The newcomer.
Correct. Who's 10 times more likely to call it cancerous than the more experienced pathologist. So now you've magnified 100-fold the number of women who are going to be told that they have cancer.
And then they're going to recommend a protocol.
Well, cut those tits off, by golly.
Don't need those things.
No, they could kill you.
Yeah, you betcha.
Cut the other one off just to make sure.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I want you to be even. Walking around all crooked. Yeah.
No, unless you
They're
got
just,
artificial
they're just too good
bangs.
to us.
So Dr. Daniels, the young lady, the actress Jolie,
Yes.
when you heard her thing was quote so-called preventive. Just go through that when you heard what she was planning to do and that she did it.
I heard that. I said, something's up with this. There's a catch here somewhere. Because I don't see movies very much, but I saw this movie, Angelina Jolie movie, The Tourist. The Tourist. All you know about the movie is Angelina Jolie is supposed to be this really sexy, desirable person. And they got the music playing, they got her swaying, they got this, that, blah, 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 blah. I mean, objectively, cut the music off, look at it, it's a little bit skinny, but whatever. So, I'm like, really? This lady is going to get her tits cut off and ruin her career? I don't think so. So, you look into what really happened with Angelina Jolie. Well, first of all, supposedly her family, she has this gene that's going to make it more likely for her to get breast cancer. All right, we'll believe it. Okay, gotcha. And so basically, women who don't have the gene get the breast cancer, get about 10% frequency of breast cancer in the United States. And you know that number is inflated, right, because of the screening practices. But we'll just accept that 10%. And if you have this gene, by golly, well, your chances of getting breast cancer are 70%. Really high. But wait. What happens is, if you get your both breasts cut off, it only reduces your breast cancer risk to slightly twice that of the population. It doesn't eliminate your breast cancer risk. Right, so you still have a 17% chance of dying of breast cancer if you have the gene and you got your tits cut off. All right, but it doesn't stop there. So wait, did Angelina Jolie get a mastectomy or did she not? There's the question. So I wanted to know, what surgical procedure did Angelina Jolie have? Well, Angelina Jolie had her breast tissue removed. Her nipples remain. Now, nipples are breast tissue. She did not have a full mastectomy. Now, what else happened? Well, Angelina Jolie had some custom molded implants made just for her to preserve or enhance a beautiful outline of her breasts. So Angelina, so just like you know, a regular breast job for a regular lady, they would cut a circle around the nipple and stuff an implant in there on top of the regular breast tissue, giving her basically a double bump on each side. That becomes apparent or obvious with aging. Well, you know, for a movie star, you can't have that. So for movie stars, you want to take away the old breast tissue, put in a perfectly shaped implant, so she's got this beautiful set of breasts that you can use for photographs, actressing, movies, whatever. So Angelina Jolie got was a top-notch boob job. And so Angelina's problem was, as an aging actress, and all actresses, you know, age, she made the decision she needed a boob job in order to extend her career. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. However, she had to check with her agent. So how are we going to play this? People could, you know, shame me or mock me or whatever. I could get negative blowback with my constituents if they discover I had a boob job. And so our publicist, apparently got a great imagination, said, whoa, 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 we can take care of this. Let's call the Breast Cancer Society, do a joint promotion. You get your boob job, and they get their promotion, and your, you know, fan base is happy. Because Angelina Jolie, her fan base is these women who feel, you know, they're very into women empowerment and, you know, all that stuff. So for them to say, oh my God, my idol got a boob job, oh no. So like you couldn't have that. So this had to be marketed a different way, presented to the public.
Thank you. So going question.
Yeah,
We have a circle. The wisdom table is the wisdom table.
I'm thinking.
So we got other wisdomites. Sister Shirley, speak up.
I just want to ask a question. If the doctor said in the beginning to have both breasts taken off, and then later he says okay, that doesn't mean it stops everything?
Correct.
Okay, so she had both taken off at the same time, so it didn't do anything.
She had a procedure.
She had a procedure.
Correct.
She had a procedure that
Correct.
removed a portion. She had a boob job. That's what she said.
had that area taken out. She didn't
Right.
have the
Both?
whole. She had that area, inside that area taken out.
Both.
Of both. And then she refilled it out with something else.
Oh yeah? Oh,
Silicone.
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 Yeah.
Now, Doctor,
Now how long do that silicone last?
So I'm just going by what women who get boob jobs, what they say is you should have your boob job redone every 10 years to keep it looking good.
That means you gotta be very careful with your breasts.
No. No, the boob job, those implants which are soft and they're put in, they turn to cement.
Turn to what?
Cement. They get very stiff, very hard.
Okay.
So your male table leader here, Leroy, will attest that ladies with boobs, fake boobs, it's like cement.
No
So a lot of
touching.
guys actually don't like women with artificial boobs because they know it may look nice, but when you touch it, it feels like cement.
So that's like don't touch my hair.
Correct.
That's okay.
This is a great classroom. We haven't even gotten it. We ain't even gotten into the class and sit down yet. Dr. Bo, there's another doctor we have on the show, and I almost call her name. She's in Louisiana, sis, and you're in Panama, so you're both in the South. But anyway, the colon cancer. Talk about
Right.
the screening. Talk about finding polyps and blah blah blah.
Okay, so many people get colon cancer screening done because they think it's going to save their life. The actual numbers are, if you screen 5,000 people for 10 years, it's 50,000 colonoscopies, you at best are going to save the life of 5 people.
Mm-hmm.
That is less than one, that's about one, at best, 1 in 1,000.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about statistical chance, just like random chance. So they have a definition of chance. Chance is any two things that are associated with a frequency of less than 5%. So if the frequency of benefit with a procedure called a colonoscopy or cancer screening for a colon cancer is 0.1%, then the relationship between the screening and the benefit is random. Chance alone.
Okay, let's go back.
In other words, you may get colon cancer. You may not get colon cancer. But being screened and finding it early is of no benefit.
No benefit.
Supposing you get the screening, they do a colonoscopy and they find polyps.
Right. And then they remove the polyps. Again, there's no association with removal of polyps and frequent screening and patient benefit. So the polyps that they're detecting and removing are things that would never have been harmful.
Supposing the person had symptoms of constipation and not feeling
But
well.
whoa. That's not screening. That's not screening. Screening is when you take all these asymptomatic people and you test them. Okay, so now we're not screening. The person's already got constipation, they've got symptoms, and they go see their doctor. That's not screening. That's a whole other category. So let's take a look at that category. So that category, what the doctor's going to do is going to do a colonoscopy, take a look up there. Let's just say you find cancer, a mass, a tumor. They do not have the ability to distinguish colon cancer from worms. It looks the same under the microscope.
Wow. Okay, they look the same. They have no ability to distinguish between a tumor and worms. That's what you said, right?
Correct.
Okay. So they see this thing and they say,
It's a mess.
we gotta take it out.
Now they tell you it's cancer. They don't even tell you what's called a differential diagnosis. So differential diagnosis is a list of other things it could be. And so this is something the patient is never ever presented with. Patients are always told, well, you've got cancer.
That's
And
it.
they're not told what else this could be. Well, this could be worms. Well, this could be tuberculosis. Well, this could be, all kinds of, there's a lot of things it could be. But the patient is never told that. That is never shared with the patient. And this is why alternative therapy works so well. Because you're basically doing nothing for people who need nothing.
Okay, let's do it. So,
In other words, any therapy that did not involve the damage of surgery, the damage of radiation, the damage of chemotherapy, is going to have a better outcome when you're starting with basically a healthy person who has no disease anyway.
Okay, excellent.
I would, Doc, ain't this one of the wisdom peoples? There was a TV show just last week, a medical TV show where the doctor is autistic, and which is a great show, by the way. And in that show, some young lady came on the show who ate some sushi, and they didn't notice, but she came in and said she was feeling bad and having all kinds of symptoms, and they did an MRI and said that she had a tumor, and that she was that there was no hope, and the autistic guy, the autistic doctor, figured out that what she really had was a big giant worm because she ate some sushi. No, kid, it's true story. She ate some sushi. I'm not true. This is the movie, the TV show. This last week, she ate some sushi, and the sushi had a worm in it, and the worm embedded itself in her brain, and it looked like it was a tumor, and it was really a worm. And I was so concerned that when my granddaughter wanted me to buy her some sushi, I yelled at her. You're not getting no damn sushi. You're not getting no damn sushi. I'm just telling you. I'm telling you the truth. I yelled at her. I'm not buying no damn sushi. I was thinking you might get a worm. I've seen that. I'm just asking you, Doc. I'm just saying to you that they, on that TV show where the doctor is a autistic savant, he's a surgeon, and he was the one that figured.
Let's break down the TV show. First of all, it's a TV show, which means it's bullshit, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, it's a TV show.
Yeah.
So they're trying to basically let you know, hey, your autistic kid could become a surgeon one day. Don't be so stressed out over autism.
He was a surgeon.
And so I'm trying to explain this to you.
Yeah.
The propaganda in the show is to get parents of autistic kids to believe their autistic kid could be a brain surgeon. And to get autistic parents to not be so uptight about autism. So you have to understand the propaganda of what you're listening to. So that's number one. Number two, autism is basically a bunch of parasites in the kid's brain anyway. So the surgeon's brain was probably talking to the patient's brain. Oh, my parasite's talking to your parasite. How come you got parasites? So there's a lot of stuff going on there. But you can't skip the propaganda value. Okay, so the propaganda value is one, doctors, autistic people can be doctors. Answer is probably not.
Yeah.
Because the process of becoming a doctor is so rigid that an autistic person would not have the flexibility to fit into it. So it takes more than intelligence to be a doctor. In fact, less intelligence is better, to be honest with you.
Say that again.
The less intelligence, the better.
So you don't overthink, because you don't overthink it.
Difficult time getting through the process of becoming a doctor. So with becoming a doctor, you have to have high obedience and the ability to obey rigid rules that change frequently. And that's not autism. Okay, so an autistic kid, chances of being a doctor is just about zero. But the propaganda here is to let parents believe that their autistic kid could become a doctor. And so let me not worry about the autism. Because the autistic parents in America are starting to get pretty upset. And in China, they had parents actually riot over vaccines. So they've got to cool out these parents and get them to be not so rebellious about the vaccines and about autism. So that's what that piece of the episode was all about.
Okay.
Now let's talk about sushi. There is vegetarian sushi, so you can eat vegetable sushi.
I didn't know that.
Right. So you eat vegetable sushi, it's got no meat in it, no parasites. That's one thing. The next thing, why do you think they have wasabi and ginger to eat with your sushi?
Killing worms.
Exactly. So Americans, of course, they eat their sushi without the wasabi.
So they get worms.
Exactly. So the wasabi causes an incredible abrupt cleansing of the liver, which keeps you from getting worms.
The wasabi, explain what wasabi is and what it does.
Wasabi is a type of horseradish that they use in Japan. It's a very strong, irritating flavor. But when you swallow it, it is very strong and very irritating to parasites. And what it does, it causes an immediate cleansing of the liver and the intestines. And literally, you'll poop out any parasites you already had. You didn't have them before. And so, but people who are used to eating sushi culturally, they eat a lot of wasabi. And so Americans will go to a sushi restaurant, oh, I'm going to eat sushi, and just dip it in the soy sauce. And maybe eat a little nibble of ginger, but not eat a lot of wasabi with it.
Beautiful. But just
I don't
one
want
more.
it.
I'm sorry.
Well, I will not be eating no smoked sushi.
Now, but wait.
You ain't never
There's a
lied.
lot of American foods that are infectious and that cause parasites and cause these brain problems, behavior problems, or whatever. And because of our spice profile, we eat these things without any kind of prophylactic spicing or herbs to prevent the diseases that are caused by them.
For example,
Milk, ice cream, cheese.
well, you
And
just
so in other cultures, like let's go to India. In India, many people don't eat meat, but instead they eat milk and they eat cheese and they eat ghee. And so they get a lot of parasites from those things. And what do? They have their very strong curries that they eat with those meals. And that keeps them from getting the parasites from the dairy they eat.
I don't need to eat that.
Again, in the United States, we eat our food. I mean, we think salt and pepper is just fine. That's ridiculous.
okay. When they find polyps in the colon, then how do they know it's the polyps have metastasized, or well, how do they determine the different stages of quote cancer after they do a colonoscopy?
So you do a colonoscopy, and they have a snare, which is a wire, goes around the polyp and burns it off the base. And now they've got a piece of tissue they can look at under the microscope.
Yeah.
Under the microscope, they'll see that it's not normal or it's cancer. Worms or parasites is never an option. That box is not available for the doctor to check. The pathologist who's looking at the sample. Okay, so when it comes back saying, hey, you got cancer. So then they do a bunch of x-ray studies. They do a bone scan, they do a CAT scan, an MRI. So that's what all those scans are about. And then they'll do blood tests if they can show any kind of dysfunction or organ damage or leakage of cells that are destroyed.
How do they know it's spread to other parts of the body?
There's a white shadow on either the MRI scan or the CT scan, basically.
Okay.
And then they inject you with dyes before they do the scan, and so the organs that may have cancer will light up.
Okay.
Scan.
Okay. So a person.
But again, all of this can be unreliable, not reliable.
Okay. So the person is told, yeah. How did the various stages are determined? Second, third, fourth.
Exactly where the cancer is. So if the
Oh.
cancer is in one spot and it's spread to a certain size, then that would make it stage 2.
Okay.
If it's gone beyond that spot to an organ like the liver, that can be stage 2.5 or 2, depending on the
Okay.
cancer. Then if it's spread to the bone or distant organs, then that's stage 3.
Okay, let's slide over. Let's say it's actually parasites.
Correct. You can have exactly the same scan results. So parasites obviously can be at that spot, or they can be in the liver, or they can be in other distant parts of the body. So you still haven't made the distinction. There's never at any point an attempt to make a distinction between parasites or cancer. And the modern medical system, as far as parasites are concerned, does not acknowledge them. So the only thing, if you have strep throat, take penicillin. You have staph, take cephalosporin or something. So they have little isolated bacterial infections. They call them infections, not parasites, because we're a modern country. We don't want to acknowledge that parasites exist. So the doctors then are trained not to look for parasites.
even though, but once they go in, and this is, there's an article on Discover Magazine, Hidden Epidemic, tapeworms in the brain, and they show a picture of the brain and all of these, they're not lesions, they're encapsulations, cysts, I guess.
Well, same thing. They're lesions. Yeah, lesions. They're called lesions. But again, modern medicine does not acknowledge it. You're not going to, as you said, it was Discover Magazine. It wasn't the Journal of the American Medical Association.
So there's no money in that. There's no money in deworming people as opposed to
Exactly.
decancering them.
You don't do it yourself.
So a person who gets a little bit of knowledge and says, well, you know, I just might have a worm infestation in these lesions. I'm going to take a chance and use a protocol. I mean, is that what's said by some people who may turn?
Who would they say that to? If they said it to their doctor, is that what you're saying?
No, they're not going to say it to the doctor, because the doctor says, if you don't follow my protocol, you're going to die.
Well, doctors would say more than that. Doctors would say, if you don't follow my protocol, you must be crazy. It's called a psychiatrist declare you crazy, make you do it anyway.
It makes you.
Right.
Okay? So it's not something you would share with your doctor, I don't think.
Right. Okay.
So she's in Panama?
You're in Panama.
Yeah, that's why.
You think now is Panama like that's like another?
No, wait a minute. This is a new person to the wisdom table. How did you wind up in Panama?
That's a good question. So I was practicing medicine in the United States, following minding my own business. So I thought I was practicing medicine to help people get better. I didn't realize I was supposed to be just pushing drugs for the cartel.
For money.
Yeah.
No, for cartel.
Yeah.
The money doctors make is really not that much.
Oh,
And
exactly.
now with medical loans, doctors can make $300,000 a year and be paupers, living in the mother's basement. So the doctor's incentive to comply with this is that they can get punished severely. So in my case, as I was just working along, putting people off drugs, putting them on clean food, and then turpentine, and then this, and then that. And so my hospital usage dropped to like 0. And so instead of hospitalizing 5 patients a month, I had 2 patients a year that needed hospital care. I wasn't ordering any hospital x-ray tests. I wasn't writing any prescriptions, and all this is tracked. And so I started getting threatening phone calls from the hospital, menacing visits from drug reps, threatening phone calls from insurance companies. And ultimately what happened was my license was taken away. I was put on 2 do not employ lists and a terrorist list. So I decided that it was not a safe place for me to be in the United States. I needed to leave.
Talk about that episode with the no-fly zone. I mean, no-fly zone. That you couldn't fly on a plane.
Yeah, so what happened was they did let me fly, but they would intimidate me, yell at me, pull me out of line, page airport security emergency to the gate the area that I was at, and you see these like 5 or 6 people dressed in black with security written on their back, running with their nightsticks and all kinds of other paraphernalia towards me. I'm like, oh my God, it's a pretty intimidating experience. And then they pull you out of line, and they go through your, carry-on baggage, all the while yell at you, demanding why you packed this, why you packed that, how come this isn't folded. It's just like, are you guys serious? And so and then they invite you to come into the back room, and you're aggressively fondled while you're, there in front of everyone else. So I told him, I'm not going to the back room. I'll strip nude right here. I'm trying to defend my country. I'll defend my country right here, strip nude. You know, I want my country to be safe. And so, you know, the confrontations got more and more testier, and they started calling in, you know, next level, next level, next level. And I
Mm.
realized, well, wait a minute, this is really getting pretty bad. Obviously, at what point are they just going to take me into custody and torture me and, you know, throw me out the window or something?
Right.
So I decided to just leave the country.
Okay, moving down the list, prostate.
Prostate cancer. So I have a whole radio show I've taped about prostate cancer. The title of the show is How Prostate Cancer Became a Disease.
That's
So the title pretty much tells you the story, okay? So prostate cancer is not a disease, it's a symptom of health. People who have prostate cancer, on average, live 4 years longer than people who do not have prostate cancer. You can look that up. So what they did then was they got men to focus on their prostate, the same way they got women to focus on their breasts. And they just basically followed the same script. And now you've got guys submitting to castration um, and all kinds of torture. And even if you look into the research on prostate cancer, and this is research done by people who stand to profit, they biased the research, they rigged it every way they can, and the best they can show is a 6 weeks of increased life expectancy if you submit to castration.
castration meaning taking out the prostate.
Cut your balls off, okay? Let's like be really clear.
Man.
So what they have now, though, because people are so easily duped, is that chemical castration, where they just pump you full of female hormones and block your testosterone.
Wow.
But it's still castration.
And you talk. Okay, I'm sorry, Doc. The the pre you got you said
Taking it personal here, huh?
Wait,
Well, you need to take it personal.
Wait.
But you don't get treated for prostate cancer, you don't get castrated.
That's it.
Now listen, you said the show that you did or a presentation how prostate cancer became a disease. Is that a YouTube accessed or archives?
No, that's a replay at my website, on my website, archives at vitalitycapsules.com
Okay.
/truth-files.
And on that website, first people can also download the Candida, the free
report on turpentine. So you go to vitalitycapsules.com, download your turpentine report, and then you'll be able to see where it says truth files or radio replays.
Okay. Going down the list, the health of eyes, and right along with that is Vicks Salve, Vicks Vapor Rub.
EYES, eyes, that's the eye test. So a lot of people have eye problems like floaters, cataracts, glaucoma, basically. And some people even have like retinopathy. You need to first understand and treat the underlying disease that's causing it. So for many people it's diabetes. And if you have type 2 diabetes, I just like have zero sympathy about that. It's like your own darn fault. And so, but I have a cure for it. It's free. You go to vitalitycapsules.com, download the Candida Clinic report, follow that diet, and your type 2 diabetes will be gone in about 2 weeks. So there's no reason for anyone to have type 2 diabetes. That's that. And that's what causes a lot of diabetic retinopathy. And that curing your diabetes will reverse your retinopathy. All right. The next cause of these various eye problems is constipation. So literally the person is backed up and their body is dumping waste in their eyeballs. And for that, you got poop 3 times a day. Go to vitalitycapsules.com and get Vitality Capsules and poop 3 times a day. So if it's an eye problem, you're going to be better off with the extra strength because they have cayenne pepper in there, and that's going to help more with the eyeballs. All right, so now you've got 2 things. Get your diet in check. You know, you're taking your Vitality Capsules, you're pooping 3 times a day. The next step, believe it or not, is turpentine. People have actually reversed their bad vision by taking turpentine orally. And so that dose is about half a teaspoon, pretty much daily. and that's safe to take daily, long term. Again, get the report, download it, read it, and you'll get the details on that. Now, some people have a little more problem than that. And for them, first thing, if someone tells you you have glaucoma, you need to ask the doctor, what is my eye pressure? A lot of people are being told that they have glaucoma when their eye pressure is actually normal. So ask your doctor what your eye pressure is. And you can go look on Google. Dr. Google will tell you what normal eye pressure is. And if your eye pressure is in the normal range, you may or may not have glaucoma, but glaucoma drops are not going to help you because glaucoma drops lower your eye pressure. So if your pressure is already normal, then you don't need any glaucoma eye drops. Just be clear on that. So you check your diagnosis. You know if you do or don't have glaucoma. Let's say you do have eye problems. Then you can put a very, very small amount of Vicks, the equivalent of maybe 2 drops worth, very small amount, in each eye at bedtime. Yes, it's going to burn. And what's going to happen is you're going to wake up and all this pus will come out of your eyes. Just wipe it away. And you do that nightly, and over time, less and less pulse is going to come out, but your vision will become more and more clear.
How did you stumble onto that one?
So I was in Syracuse, New York. I was under a lot of stress. Oh my gosh. And I developed this discharge in one of my eyes. And the discharge got really bad. There was a lot of pus coming out. The eyeball swelled. It turned red. I couldn't open it. Basically, I was blind in that eye. And I said, well, I went to medical school, right? But this might lost my license. And so I figured all I needed was some antibiotic ointment. So I put the antibiotic ointment in my eye, and it helped. But then the antibiotic ointment tube was empty, and my eye was not all better. And it got worse again, and things got back to where they were, which was a swollen eyeball, which was all red and pus just dripping down my cheek. And I said to myself, what have I got to lose? Can't see anyway. Let me put some Vicks in my eye. Boom. Took about 3 days to clear it up. Oh, interesting.
Now, Doc.
Taking another chance, huh?
Oh, yeah. My mother said, now you be careful. Don't you be trying that dangerous stuff.
Take another
Now, Doc,
chance.
talk about the unspoken element in healing, whether self-healing on the part of the so-called patient or on your part, and that is intuition. Talk about that.
I don't understand the question.
Okay, people call it in the educated circle, they call it gut feel. I'm talking about operating on intuition, just like you just explained with that Vicks. Hey, I got nothing to lose. Let me use some of this Vicks and pop. Some people may say that was.
Sometimes that works out. Sometimes you can go blind forever and it can kill you. So you got to be cautious about that.
Yes.
Yes, you have to realize when you really do have nothing to lose. Number one. So a lot of people go to the doctor thinking they have nothing to lose. But I can tell you, if you can walk into that doctor's office, you have a lot to lose. Because doctors are trained. Their goal is to get you to where all you can do is walk and talk. Walkie-talkie. And in medicine, we use that expression. Well, he's a walkie-talkie. Yep, a success story. Turn the page. And so here's this person who's been in the hospital for a month, they've been through intensive care units, tons of surgeries, all they can do is walk and talk, they can't rest themselves, the brain is shot, they're terrible, their life is destroyed. So when you gotta go on gut feeling, you gotta first of all realize what it is that's on the line. And most people are very poor at assessing what's really on the line. They're so indoctrinated. Like this person told me, I saw a TV show and the doctor said, no, that's supposed to be fake and false. In real life, if he said what he said, he'd have got fired and they would have done brain surgery and chopped the person up. So they're trying to the show is giving you a lot of lies to make you feel comfortable that if you were in a hospital and a doctor mentioned something that would cause the hospital to take a course of action that would cost $200 instead of $20,000, that they would actually respect that doctor's opinion. Really? No.
Fine.
That doctor would be eating out of garbage cans in short order.
Doc, we're going to go around the table, because I know you have appointments and whatnot. We're going to go around the table for a final set of questions, and for the audience who's listening in, this is only a sampling of Dr. Jennifer Daniels' experience and her capabilities. You go to the internet, you look at the various vitalitycapsules.com, Healing with Dr. Jennifer Daniels, and Dr. Jennifer Daniels, and YouTube, you'll see her interviews with other folks, and you'll gain further knowledge on that. Then you can follow up with Vitality Capsules. So we're going around the table. Once again, this is the Wisdom Table, and we're based here in the James Weldon Johnson Housing Development. And we'll start with Sister Shirley. You have a question?
No, I'm feeling low right now.
Okay, Sister Shirley said you didn't drop so many hammers in there. She quiet. Sister Jenkins.
As of saying, turpentine clears up more better than antibiotic.
That's my opinion, yes.
Thank you. I'm gonna get a big bottle and put it in my house. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
You're welcome.
Okay, Doc, I just got one question because I was the one that asked you about the worm in the brain thingy. I just want to know, what is your opine on the notion that they're trying to tell everybody that the idea of everybody having the ability to go to the doctor is socialism, and there's something bad about that. Can you just expound on that for a second for the ignorant?
Well, first of all, I think everyone having the ability to go to the doctor is a very bad thing, because the doctors kill more Americans than any other cause of death. They are the leading cause of death.
That's scary.
There are people who are using condoms and they are abstaining from sex to avoid AIDS, which only kills 14,000 Americans a year. Yet, they're buying health insurance, they're calling to make appointments, they're going to emergency rooms, they're demanding to be seen to receive something that the medical industrial complex itself admits kills over 330,000 people every year. Now, if you look at other people who've privately done a count, and I've done one too, that number is actually well over 1 million. So to socialize our present healthcare system with its practices is simply going to legalize mass euthanasia.
So you're saying they should socialize, if they were to socialize, they should socialize it and revamp the whole thing, because the way that
No. You know,
What-
they should not socialize a speck of this, because none of it is safe and none of it is effective.
So you said to get rid of all of it.
Yeah, clean the slate.
I got you. Start from the beginning.
I mean, you can say start, but I would say don't even start. Don't even start.
What
The
would
whole
that?
concept of the healthcare system is nonsense. And the thing, the problem is that Americans have been so brainwashed and so miseducated, black, whites, whatever, that they don't even understand what healing is. They don't even understand what religion is. They don't understand what culture is. So I'll just tell you real quick what it is. Religion is a set of things that you believe in, and religion guides the way that you live, the way that you heal, the way that you die, and the way that you eat. That's what religion is. And culture is the context of how you do that. These are all personal, private matters. There is no place for government. There is no place for organizations in that whole construct. And so by even saying you believe there should be a healthcare system, what you are saying is there needs to be a system that can violate everyone's religion, everyone's personal right to freedom, choice, and uniqueness, and living your life the way they want to.
What's the third thing you had? You said there was one other thing. You said culture, religion. Wasn't there one other thing she said?
I didn't write it down.
Okay. I thought you said there was three.
You said religion.
Your culture, your religion, and your right to heal.
Heal.
Oh, okay.
Right. Okay.
Your rights to heal.
Right. Now, when I was a kid, so I grew up in the ghetto.
Told it
Now,
all
the
about.
ghetto, this is back in the 60s and 50s. It was a hoot. It was a hoot. Why? Because you would say to someone, what about, well, why don't you do that? Nah, man, that's against my religion. And that person had a tremendous amount of wisdom in that one phrase, which is, my religion is what I believe to be true and what I'm practicing. That is what your religion is. And it may not have a name, and it may not be one of these big recognized whatevers, maybe, I don't know, Christianity, Muslim, or whatever. Because here's the deal: all the religions have sold out, and they've said to the government, "All right, you can handle the healing. We're just going to handle people's what they mumble in church." No, 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 no. Your religion is not a religion if it's not guiding your healing. Your religion is not a religion if it's not guiding what you do and don't eat.
Hey.
And so, would you say, I have a religion, I don't care what it is, but I'm going to the doctor? No, no, no. The doctor is your religion.
Stu, question?
Do you have any feedback for folks with autoimmune disorder, in particular vitiligo?
All autoimmune situations are syphilis. Period. Done. End of discussion. Easy beans. And I've done a show on that. It's called The Modern Face of Syphilis. So check it out.
Wait a minute. What's that word that you're using?
Syphilis.
Syphilis.
Yeah.
Venereal disease.
Maybe it's not.
Oh, another piece of information.
There you
Yes.
go, Brother Leroy. You fell into the trap. You fell right into the trap, Brother Leroy. You ain't learned nothing she told you over the last hour. We're going to give her a spanking when the show's over.
Got it, Doc.
It's the witness table. This is the wisdom table, not the witness table.
Oh, sweat. Doc, explain that.
I don't even know where to start. Let's start with 1881. In 1881, vaccines had been spread around and they were being used. And there's a problem that 25% of vaccines were contaminated with syphilis. And people back then, this is the law, I'm not taking people, so people refused vaccines. And so what happened was people got educated. So now, you remember the Tuskegee experiment?
Yes.
This took place 25 years into the experiment, where they observed people who had syphilis to see what untreated syphilis looked like. They diagnosed the first autoimmune disorder. And guess what? It had the exact same signs as syphilis, even had the congenital syndrome associated with syphilis, identical syphilis. So look up the Great Pretender and the Great Masquerader. One's going to be syphilis, and one is going to be lupus. So that's going to be right there on the internet, and you'll see symptoms identical. And what's one symptom of lupus? A false positive syphilis test. So all the autoimmune diseases have a false positive syphilis test as one of the markers. So your syphilis test is positive. Let's ignore that. No, we're going to ignore that. Nothing there. Don't pay no attention. You keep going on with your doctor's therapy. And so what's the therapy? Suppress your immune system with prednisone, which makes the syphilis run through your body even quicker.
Damn.
Yeah.
Syphilis is a form of a parasite.
Yeah, it's a parasite. So again, it's splitting hairs to call something a parasite or a bacterium or a spirochete.
Okay.
So again, these are cultural practices. They are imposed upon people by the government. People accept them because they don't understand what religion is. Religion means I get to make my own definitions. I don't have to use yours. I can feel the way I want to. And so I don't think there are any people left in the United States, well, there are very few, who even understand the importance of religion, the importance of being able to practice your religion. In fact, you need to have the freedom to make up your own religion as you go. And so this whole freedom area of freedom has been, people have been stripped of it, which means that, and they don't even know it. And so people are willingly going to slaughter. I mean, to even suggest universal health care is, I mean, just a facepalm moment, just put your hands over your eyes, like, I can't believe I heard that.
Doc, two things that relate to newborn babies. The young mother says, I'm not gonna breastfeed my child.
Yeah, I said the same thing because I was taught in medical school breast milk is dangerous. Yeah. So that shows the value of medical education right there.
That's right.
I'm not going to breastfeed. I'm going to give them the formula that they gave me free samples of it in the hospital.
Exactly. And that's just so ignorant. It's just unfortunate. But hey, I fell into the same trap. As I was taught in medical school that breast milk was dangerous, and the drug companies, they drove a tractor trailer up to my house to give me a year's worth of formula for free.
Wow.
So, we all have our moments of ignorance, and we have to get through it the best we can.
So you have a daughter. She has twins, or just one child. What do you say to your daughter?
I tell her, have the baby at home and breastfeed. It's safer, and you're going to have safer for you and for the baby. Maternal death rate in the United States has increased 6-fold since the Institute of Prenatal Care.
No, wait, Doc.
Mothers.
What happened? Give that again.
Death of the mother has increased 6-fold since the advent or wide use of prenatal care. That would be 1965. You can go check the stats. It's increased 6-fold. They had to change the definition of maternal death to say that if the mother and the baby died, it's not a maternal death because she never became a mother. So they've done all kinds of stuff with the stats to make it, to hide it. But even the stats they do agree to count, it's exorbitant. And you can even Google World Health Organization and U.S. maternal death rate. The World Health Organization has declared it a health emergency, the death rate of American mothers.
The death rate of American mothers.
Well, American people who get pregnant, yeah. So from the time of conception to 30 days after birth, that death rate has increased 6-fold since 1965.
And when we hear about infant mortality in the hospital, how is that?
The infant mortality, I did a whole show on that as well. So infant mortality is actually closer to 100, but that number is concealed. And the way it's concealed is they kill the babies, again, between conception and birth. So infant mortality is only if the baby is born alive. Stillbirths are not counted.
Wow.
So the whole infant mortality number is another big manipulation. And so what the lady really wants to know is if I conceive and get pregnant, what are my chances of a live birth? And that's the number that really tells the story of how bad it is.
So that's another paper that you did, presentation?
No, another radio show.
Another radio show.
It's in the replays.
That's archived.
So we are out of time.
Okay, Doc.
Yes.
Time go by
Doc,
fast.
thank you. You have service 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 patients at one time. Hey, God bless you and thank you. Thank Shirley for us.
And come back
I
again.
shall pass it down the line.
All right, God bless you, sis. Man,
Thank you.
wow.
Yeah.